Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. And thanks again for tuning in with us this week. My name is Laura McNeil, Sterling Master Examiner. Welcome to the second session of the Sterling Core Values Leadership Series. Today's core value is customer-focused excellence, presented by Sterling Master Examiner Debbie Voss, Corporate Vice President of Quality Initiatives at Patient Care EMS. Before I turn it over to Debbie for her 7-minute leadership brief, just wanted to remind everyone to please submit any questions you may have through chat, and we will source them through there for discussion after Debbie's presentation. At this time, I would like to introduce Debbie Voss.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm really happy to be speaking with you today. As Laura mentioned, in this session, I'll be discussing the core value of customer-focused excellence. So to start us right off, when you look at the Sterling Management Framework, you can see how the 11 core values and concepts serve as the foundation. This graphic shows the interrelationship between all of the components. So the Sterling criteria build on the core values shown in the center of the wheel here. And if you did see this as an actual wheel, you could say that the core values are the spokes, and the spokes support the wheel and make it stronger. The criteria build on the core values, and these are embedded in the systematic processes, and in turn, of course, they yield our performance results. So why is customer-focused excellence a core value and so important? Why wouldn't organizations just focus on sales and profits like this cartoon illustrates? Customers really are key to our business, right? It's what we're about. It's the most important thing, aren't they? There's a lot of data to support the correlation between favorable customer service experiences and organizational success. This focus leads to customer acquisition, satisfaction, preference, loyalty, stronger branding, and growth. So if we acknowledge its importance, how do we instill the core value of customer-focused excellence into our organization's culture so that it drives actions across all areas of the organization, and it's not just a position or a department in your organization? Well, there's 3 key things that you can do. First is to define your service culture and set your standard for excellence. Think beyond what you do, but define who you are. What does service excellence look like in your organization? Your culture influences what people prioritize and how they interact with your customers. It becomes the foundation in which you build your strategies. This can be defined in your organization through your vision statement. It could be a separate culture or a value statement. For example, Amazon's vision is to be the world's most customer-centric company. And Walmart, on the other hand, their vision is to become the worldwide leader of all retailing. So these are very different, and therefore they're going to have very different strategies. You also heard from John Keevan in his presentation on visionary leadership, how Wellstar Paulding Hospital laid down the bold expectation for top 10% performance, including customer engagement and patient safety. So this is what they did. This is their standard for excellence in their organization. Defining the culture also includes defining the behaviors or actions that support this culture. Behaviors need to be aligned with your values. Again, this focus and culture will shape the way people make decisions. Secondly, you have to engage your employees. You want to connect your employees with the bigger purpose. This is the difference between a restaurant employee who's focusing on the standard for serving food versus providing a memorable dining experience. You also need to have a formal hiring process to hire the right employees who share those values and behaviors and are capable of meeting your standard for performance excellence. The other piece to engage employees, the initial and continuous training to ensure and reinforce the necessary behaviors to meet your standard for service excellence. If you've heard of Zappos, it's probably because they're well known for their stellar customer service. I mean, after all, they dedicate 4 to 7 weeks of initial training to their sales personnel when hired, and actually offer those folks 1 month severance pay if they feel that they can't live up to it or they're not a good fit. Also remember, you want to continuously focus on this culture and your standards for excellence through your communication. You need to keep it alive using your communication, such as your emails, putting up posters, your memos, just keeping it alive in your organization. Lastly, you want to closely monitor and provide feedback. You want to review the behaviors and the results, and it's really important to hold people accountable. Quint Studer says, what you permit, you promote. So you want to provide real-time coaching and feedback when it presents itself. Review your performance to that desired goal that you have for service excellence, and find areas where you need to improve. And you're also looking for areas that you want to celebrate. I'd like to talk about a little bit about my own customer patient service excellence efforts in my organization. As Laura mentioned, I work for Patient Care EMS, and my local entity though is Sunstar Paramedics in Pinellas County. So one of the things we did, is initially back in 2017, we were focused on really patient satisfaction. So we sent out 500 surveys a month for patients, and we look at anything that was strongly agree or agree responses to the surveys. And so in 2017, we were at 99.8%. So we thought, hey, some people might say this is good enough, but we really wanted to focus on that patient service excellence. So we were looking more about now about engagement in top box. So creating the focus, we increased our top box performance from 57% up to 84% year to date. And how we did that is really through close monitoring results and providing feedback and that communication. So when we first did this, one of the things is we added the individual survey questions to our organizational performance scorecard. So high level, looking at monthly performance, looking for any areas that we were lagging in. And then we cascaded that all the way down to an individual employee scorecard that employees get, which is showing each employee if their patients were surveyed, how they scored, and any comments that were made about the care that they provided. Then as a system level, we provided feedback through methods such as posters and Facebook and continuing education courses. We provided them, our employees, with the feedback of how they're doing. We segmented it by deployment location, by day shift and night shift, just to kind of break it up and segment it in smaller pieces so we could see the results and analyze and make improvements. But the big piece of this is sharing it, discussing it, and then using all of this feedback into our employee training, our initial hiring orientation, and then into our process improvement system. So pretty much to summarize, to create a culture of customer service excellence, really about putting your customer at the center, at the heart of everything you do. And, this is from a point of leadership, setting the vision for your organization of that culture, then developing that strategy that support your culture, ensuring that you have an engaged workforce with the desired behaviors and capabilities. You want to design those processes that meet or exceed your customers' needs or desires. And then you want to use performance results and share it and identify where you need to have those improvement initiatives and where you need to focus those on. So I appreciate your time today. So I'd like to take this opportunity if you have any questions for me.
Debbie, we have one question. In your experience, how often should an organization's vision, mission, values be reviewed and or updated to continue alignment with the core value of customer-focused excellence?
I think each organization can determine the frequency. I think you want to use feedback from your customer for one thing. It's important to understand what your customer wants from you. And if you have a strategic planning process that takes that feedback and puts it into a way that you can sort of digest it, determining what things that you want to instill in your organization to improve. That's really, I think everybody is different depending on the type of organization you are, but I would embed it in your strategic planning process if it isn't currently in there. And to kind of quote something I heard from John Keevan at Wellstar is, what is your true north? And that's your vision, and that's where you want to be. And so you want to make sure everything is aligned to that direction.
All right, good answer. Thank you. What is the biggest positive impact to your organization that you've experienced through the adoption of a customer-focused culture?
I think it prepared us creating this focus and constantly reviewing. We actually had people who didn't want us to continue our surveys during COVID. And then there was that other side was like, well, this is the time we want to continue the surveys to see how it's affecting us. And we really expected a huge dip, but we didn't see the dip because we were very focused on the results. And we made modifications to how we presented ourselves to our patients. I mean, we showed up looking like space people, but we had little placards or name tags that showed people this is what we really look like outside of this, making comments about, you probably can't tell, but for my eyes, I'm smiling right now. And I think by having this standard and this flow, it helped us get through the hard time.
Okay, thank you. We have another question. What allows you to measure your KPIs?
So we have our organizational scorecard, which has been placed on Teams, so anybody can go in there and see how we're actually performing currently. And then we have folks that are assigned to particular measures, and their job is to go in and update the measures so that they're current, and we can see where we have performance improvement needs. We do a monthly scorecard review of data to see if we have any red areas, so to speak, where we're lagging behind what we're desiring to be.
All right. One last question. In your experience, how long would it typically take for an organization to adopt a customer-focused culture?
Well, you got to start tomorrow if you're not doing it today. You know what they say, it takes a while to turn the Titanic around. So if you're going to have a culture in your organization no matter what, right? And it's a reflection of leadership. And so you might as well create the focuses on what you want it to be, your culture. And so I think, people say, how long does it take to become a high-performing organization? I think it depends on your diligence, your commitment, your execution. So it's really, I wish I had here's how long it takes, but the sooner you get to it, the sooner you'll get there. And it's about creating that vision, that focus, what you want your culture to be, getting the buy-in from your executive level. The sooner you can do that, the sooner you can begin those other actions of getting your employee workforce involved. A brand is defined by the customer's experience, but the experience is delivered by the employees. And that was a quote that, I heard from Shep Hyken, who's an author and speaker. And it really, I think if you don't have your employees on board, it's going to be a slower process for sure.
Great. Well, thanks for your time, Debbie. Great insights. So if I could quickly summarize, points I took away were customers are our greatest asset to solidifying an organization's strategy and ongoing success. Focusing on customer satisfaction, preferences, and loyalty will lead to organizational growth. And leaders can define a customer-focused culture by aligning supportive behaviors, standards, and actions, which includes providing and valuing transparent, timely, and constructive feedback. Is that it?
Wow. There you go.
All right, good deal. All right, so as a reminder to everyone, please check in at floridasterling.com for additional content from today's session. And if you have enjoyed today's session, please feel free to forward the registration link to others. And don't forget to tune in at the same time for next week's Sterling Core Value Leadership Series session on valuing people, featuring Monique Akanbi, HR professional and field services director with the Society of Human Resources Management, otherwise known as SHRM. And thank you all. Thank you, Debbie, for choosing to spend some time with us today. Have a great day.